In today's video, I'll be showing you how I passed 2 funding challenges with this single trade. If you want to ready up your mindset, technicals, and risk management ready to take a funding challenge of your own, head over to the link in the description and join my free trading course. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be breaking down 2 funding challenges that I passed with a single trade, and then I'm going to be breaking down the trade itself, show you how I entered and how I managed to get safe, high risk reward on this position. So without further ado, let's dive into the statistics of the MyForex Fund challenge and I'll show you the rundown on that. So here we are within the MyForex Fund's account dashboard, and this is for a $200,000 funding challenge. Now this is phase 1 and I passed that in a single trade, as you can see from this chart here. So to start out last week around Friday, I took a couple of little positions. All of those ended up around break even. I was attempting to get into moves, managing aggressively and getting out due to the NFP. And then after that, I just let it be until this Monday start. I think by that time I was down around 0.35 or 0.4%. And then coming into this week, I took one small loss and then a winning position straight after the loss, about 10 minutes after, which was a complete challenge pass. So let's have a look at the trading history and I'll show you the trades that I've taken on this account. So the first position was EURUSD, and these was a few positions here which were essentially break even. I had some very small wins, very small losses. Obviously on a $200,000 account, this is very, very small percentage numbers. These two combined were 0.25% in terms of a loss. So this was essentially a break-even day. Not a whole lot of action went on there. We just studied around break-even on the account. And then this week on Monday, when we started off the week, I took a small loss of 0.5%, including commissions on EURUSD. And then straight after that, you'll see I took the win for 8.5% on EURUSD as well. And this was using 1% risk, right? So this was a 0.5% risk move, and I'll show you why when we head to the chart. But this was a 1% move. And this actually won for around 9R, which loaded up the account with this loss back and then obviously the whole profit target on top. So heading over to the charts now, I'm going to show you the basis of the trade that I passed the challenges with. And then we'll move on to the Trader's Central Fund Challenge and I'll show you the results over there. So as you saw within the MyForex Fund's dashboard, it was a 1% risk position at 9R profit on EURUSD. And the trade was actually built around concepts I sent out yesterday in the analysis video to YouTube. And it was to buy EURUSD intraday from this low area here towards this high up here. So if we just scale price forward a little bit, this is where the basis of the trade came in. So for my intraday trades, we're currently looking at the days range, okay? We have a high of the Asia range, we have the low of the Asia range. Around the high and the low of the Asia range, we get liquidity. So when I see the market push out one side, I'm then looking for a reversal back into the range to then begin buying to take through to the other side of the range to take out the liquidity there. And that is a general basis for the trade in the morning. Now, as we can see, we have tricky price action here. And the next significant structure point to actually break before looking for buys would be up here. So obviously that's not going to happen. By the time we're up there, we've done the target and there's no further opportunities. But if we scale out a little bit and look to the left, we can see here we had this heavily imbalanced demand zone down here in the lows, indicated by this indecision candle. So if we pull the market over like that, we can see now that price is retesting a demand zone. And then we obviously have the bias that we may want to see the market push up through into the high of the Asia range. Now from there, we may continue, we may flip over and reverse, but that is the general consensus for this trade. So what I did next was scale down to the lower time frames and monitor the current structure. By that, I mean from this high down to this low, what is the market doing? Well, we can see we're in a series of lower lows and lower highs, and the last recent significant structure point was here. We can also see now, after the push down, we've retested demand. So if we were to break to the upside, we may get a nice opportunity to buy EURUSD up in line with the analysis we looked at just on the higher time frame. So I allowed the market to play out a little bit. We found footing and we made a higher low. And then we had this impulsive break to the upside, which to me looked very nice for an aggressive entry. The reason I like this is because it's the first impulse we've had, the first higher low that we've had within this downtrend, and we've now broken through a significant structure point, which also pairs with quite a strong supply here in the low time frame trend. So my next movement was to set an order around this area, right? I was looking for this kind of consolidation area, this demand in the lows with a stop beneath the low. Now my actual entry was 175, my stop was 148. The reason that it looks a little bit weird on this chart is because on the funded account, there is slight price discrepancies. And of course, I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss the trade based on spreads. So I did put it a little bit above the zone. But that was the entry for the position. Now for my target, obviously I was targeting the Asia high, as I just mentioned before we dug down this low. And that was the setup that I was looking for. So that is a 13.4 hour setup, and that was a nice aggressive entry to a well-confirmed setup to actually just go and target the high of the day's Asia range. Now, what happened next is we consolidated and we formed a little bit of efficient price action. So if we just scale our trade back over here, you will see that we came up, we formed this imbalance, but then we started to trade sideways and we formed some efficient price. We then had a little drive down like that. And when we broke out to the upside, I figured, okay, the market may be rallying here and it's possible that it's going to leave me behind without fulfilling the original entry. So I scoped out this and I marked out this demand zone here. And what I actually did was set a order for 0.5% risk on this zone. So remember that 0.5% risk, the minus $775 trade. That trade was actually this one here with my entry on this zone and a stop below. And I figured if I can get in at half risk, I'm still looking at very nice risk reward, probably get around 7% off that one. But if I do get stopped out, I'm not going to be taking a heavy loss and I can still then go ahead and execute the original position. Now, unfortunately, or potentially fortunately, because I ended up getting a larger trade out of it anyway, this initial 0.25% risk trade did get stopped out. And that was the loss that you saw within the My Forex Funds account. Now, after that, the market did come down, tapped into the zone that I was buying from, triggered us in at the 1.14175 level, and then began a rally to the upside. So if we now let it run, you'll see that we just pretty quickly began breaking structure. We started pushing to the upside, and it was when we pushed over this high that we really started rallying towards the target. Now, you'll have noticed, or you may have noticed, that my trade did not go this far. Okay, the market did actually fulfill this target, but obviously having passed both of the challenges, I actually took profits early, and I took profits around here in the middle of this little zone here, which was around 10R. Now I say a 9R position because in terms of what I risked, it was basically I use a slightly smaller lot size than what my lot size calculator tells me to do, because when you're trading large accounts like this, you run into large commissions. And if a trade goes bad, you're going to lose your 1% plus, maybe 0.2, 0.25% in commissions, which obviously is not ideal. So I went with a slightly smaller lot size than I could have, but 10R for me was actually the 9R done, which fulfilled the whole profit target and wiped out that little loss that I took before as well. And that was how I took one single trade and passed 2 funding challenges. Now, as you can see, it's not difficult to do. Okay, I know that people have a lot of psychological pressure when taking challenges, but if you forget about the deadline, focus on processes, focus on finding solid trades, and just act as if you're trading your own personal accounts, you are going to have a much, much higher success rate when it comes to funding challenges. So now let's take a look at the Trader Central Fund Phase 2 that I passed for a $50,000 account with these guys. And I should be getting this login soon because the whole thing is now done. If you remember a few videos ago, I updated that I passed this Phase 1 within about a week and a half. Now the Phase 2 is done. I actually didn't know that I'd passed the Phase 2 because I thought I had to make $4,000. But when I logged in this morning, it turns out that it's done and the account is now in review. So on this one, you can see that it did not go as smooth as the other. The max loss is actually larger than the profit. And the reason for that is I hit a losing streak as soon as I started the challenge. I ran into a losing streak and actually burnt the account down a fair amount, but then I brought it back with a few high risk reward trades. And I thought I'd share this one to actually inspire you a little bit if you've started a challenge off on a bad foot or you are a little bit in drawdown on your challenge. Now, it's never the end of the world. It happens to everyone. Obviously, losing streaks are going to come in. I took a losing streak. I burnt the account down, but then I actually brought it back just fine without worrying and without panicking. So let's go and take a look at some of the trades on this account, and you can see the good and the bad. Looking at the account history of the Traders Central Fund Challenge, this is actually around 4 losses in a row, split over a few different positions. But this was the losing streak that I got into as soon as I started the challenge. So as you can see here, we actually had a bunch of losses averaging minus $500, which is a 1% risk on the account. So straight away, I actually lost 4%, literally in a row, okay? And then following that, you can see my risk reward is in my favor. This is the same position here. This was around $1,200 profit. And then if we move over to some of the more recent trades, we have once again a 1% loss, but then we have here a 4% win and an 8% win with obviously a bunch of break-evens in the middle as well. So not the greatest trading on this account in terms of win rates, but as you can see, my systems are continually repeated, which makes it easy for me to come back from losing streaks, and my risk reward is exceptional. So, I'm risking 1% on losers, but I'm making between 4 and 8% on the winners, which obviously brings you a lot of profit if you can continually apply your system without losing your discipline and without losing focus. So the key things I want you to take away from this video are to not panic when you're on a funding challenge and just stick to your guns. You obviously saw a best case scenario where I took one really good trade as soon as I started the challenge. And then you saw the worst case scenario where I took a streak of losses, 4 losses in a row before even hitting a win, but then easily passed the challenge within 3 winning trades by taking high risk reward positions. If I'm risking 1%, I want to make 4% or more generally on a position. Now, sometimes you're not going to be able to, sometimes you're going to get break evens and early closures. But if I'm going for 4%, that means I can hit 4 losses for every win and stay break even. Obviously, I don't hit 4 losses for every win, but when I do have a losing streak of 4 losses, I can easily overcome that with a single position, and then I can use another win to run that all the way up to where it needs to be. So on the Trader Central Fund Challenge, you saw an 8% trade, which obviously is double the profit target, following on from obviously a few of the losses that I took. Now, I actually finished at nearly 2% over the target because I didn't know that I'd finished it, but it shows the power of high risk reward systematic trading. Now, the same with the My Forex Funds Challenge. You see the power of the system that I use and apply because you just saw single trade loss for 0.5%, single trade win for 8.5%, bringing back that loss and actually passing the challenge very, very quickly within a single day of trading. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. That's just a little breakdown on my current funded account challenges that I'm doing. I will do another update when Trader Central Fund have given me the account and I've traded it and I've been paid out. So I'll be able to vouch if they are legit or not. And then the same with my Forex funds. Once I've passed the phase 2 for this one, I'll do another video update and then I'll let you know my experiences with them. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. I hope this gives you a little bit of motivation to push towards your funding goals. And I wish you the best of luck trading this week and in the future. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.